Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Frederick Dunn, and this time I'm going to be talking with you about starting seedlings inside your house in the wintertime. That's right, and specifically hyssop seeds. I'm going to tell you what my thought process is, and I'm going to show you how to get them going. Even though this is only an 11-minute and 56-second video, this took me 4 months to make, so I hope you'll stick around. What I did was I took the seeds out and I put them on dampened paper towels and put those in Ziploc baggies and sealed them up. Put them on the windowsill and I flipped them seed side down so that the roots would not grow up and into the paper towel. And this is the result of 3 days. This shows us the germination rate. If you notice, a couple of the seeds here did not germinate, but this is pretty high, pretty effective. I got these seeds from Eden Brothers. Way more than I'm ever going to use, and by starting them off inside, it breaks up the winter. Plus, we get to see things grow, probably healthy to have them inside your house, and we're going to see how things go, and then based on their germination rate and whichever ones grow the longest roots, I'm going to pick these up and put them in my seed pods in my biodome, which I've used before, and I'm going to show you every step of the way as we go. So let's go ahead and get these open. I'll break out my super tiny tweezers, which I have a lot of that I use for dissection. And we're going to take these out and we're going to park them in the pods for the biodome. This is the polystyrene for the biodome. These pod holders come in different sizes. These are the medium-sized ones, so there's another step smaller than these if you wanted to go with, I believe, 122 or something like that. And it floats, so you water them from underneath. I have not done anything to sanitize these. I probably should. I don't know. And these are the pods that come from the same company that makes the biodome. Everything that you'll see in this video, I purchased at full price. I'm not reviewing something in exchange for anything here. So we're just going to grow them. And we'll put the water in the bottom so that it soaks up into these. And then we're going to transplant our little started seeds. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to know which ones germinated, and I only want to transplant those that I know are growing. That way I won't have any duds out here. So stick with me and I'll show you exactly what I do and how I do it. By the way, I left some of these in Ziploc bags and I just blew up the Ziploc bags like little greenhouses. And guess what? The plants continued to grow. It's very interesting. I did not video that, but I'm just showing you how I'm selecting the ones that I want to put in the pods and to keep things going for this video. So here we go, picking them up very carefully by that shell, the seed that's now cracked open and the plant's growing out of it. And as I mentioned before, they'll just continue to grow, which is kind of fun. If you've got children, what a great thing to do in the middle of winter. These seeds need light to germinate, so you had to put them on your windowsill or under a grow lamp if you want to. I'm also going to show you some really nice grow lamps that clamp onto my metal bookcase here, and I'm going to show you that later on. But I also split this up, and let me tell you why. So the ones on the left there, these are the ones that I'm putting the 3-day-old germinated seeds in. And then on the right, I'm going to add seeds into those pods after they've grown for almost a week. So we're going to see if it makes a difference as the plants mature. Did one go faster? I probably should have done a third series of nothing but just dropping seeds into the pods, but as I mentioned, I wanted to make sure I'm using the ones that are growing. It's really cold outside. This is a great experiment. This is our kitchen table, of course, and I'm just showing you that the biodome has vents on top. And I keep them in the closed position because while they're germinating, while they're young, we keep the humidity on. But once the plants grow and get started, we'll take that off because we don't want what is known as a dampening off. So here they are. Look how fuzzy they get. They grow right into these pods, which are made up of some shredded coconuts and other material. Who knows? Good stuff. There were no bad aspects to it. No bugs or anything crawling around. And these are the ones that are left in the Ziploc baggies. You can see that their roots are much longer, so now we're going to transplant those, which actually turns out to be pretty tricky. And by that I mean because the roots are larger, they're actually clinging to the paper towel a little bit. And so I pulled some of them apart as I tried to transfer them to my little grow pods there in the biodome. But you can see it's great how they're growing. and I can tell you ahead of time, spoiler alert, there was no difference in the growth rate of those I started in the pods early, and then these whose roots I let grow out much longer. You can see to the right there that I pulled one apart, trying to get it out so I can put it in here, and then we stick it down inside. These holes are already there, very easy. I also recommend that you keep your pods out of your biodome inserts until you put the seeds in them, because sometimes it's hard to keep track of which ones have seeds in them and which ones don't once they drop down in that little hole there. So as you put the seeds in, or your started plants in this case, that's when I put them in the little available reservoirs there. This is just showing how I have to carefully pull some of them apart. These tweezers, by the way, are fantastic. They look kind of rough here because it's a super close-up, but they're the finest tweezers I could find. I'll put a link down in the video description below. I use them for dissection and everything else. They're just the best. So here they are on the kitchen table, and we're going to watch them grow. I don't mean we're going to sit here in this video and watch them grow, but look, the green tops are poking up, and now we've got the LED lights on them for 12 hours a day. You can pick a 4-hour, 8-hour, or 12-hour cycle, and you control the light intensity. Now we jumped ahead. My videos are out of order here. These are already pretty old, as you can see, and I already transplanted them. So we're going to back up a little bit and show you an intermediate stage of growth. But for right now, you can see that they did well, and I put 3 in each pot. These plastic pots are dirt cheap. Speaking of dirt, I'm also going to show you what the potting soil is that I used, and these are already at 26 days old. So we're going to back up a little bit here too, but this is on my west-facing porch, and we have a nice metal rack. This is more like it. They're 16 days old here. And as you can see, the trays, the one closest and farthest away, there isn't much of a difference in the growth rate, size, or health of the plants that are in here. They all came out pretty much the same. So you could probably also get away with just dropping your seeds in, but I just did it for kicks. And if you'll notice, look at the roots that they grew all the way through down to the bottom. And that's because you're supposed to dry them out between waterings, which I did. And I also have these cafeteria trays that I'm using, and I transplanted everything into those plastic grow pots here. And there's the size 150 by 130, dirt cheap. I think you get like 50 of them in a pack. So I have more than I'm going to need. And I transplanted 3 per pot, and that's because they're not going to stay in these pots. They're going to go outside. My wife picked up Miracle-Gro potting mix. This is exactly what I used. I followed all the instructions, including letting it dry out between waterings, so dry to the touch. Let the mix dry to the touch between waterings. Do not allow plants to sit in drainage water. Probably good advice. And it says 30 days after planting, begin regular feeding program with Miracle-Gro plant food. I did not do that. You probably should if you really want things to kick up. Look how bad it is outside. 29 degrees Fahrenheit, 2-mile-an-hour winds. The 51 degrees there is actually in my grow tent, which is in the basement. Nothing's in it right now because this one's up on the porch. And I did notice that if I had put these in a grow tent, or if I draped it in some way, the heat from these lights would probably benefit the growing of the hyssop plants. Now look at this. We jumped ahead here. And this is where they're at right now. It's April the 25th. These are 4 months old at this point, and they've done really well. So I think that they're going to bloom when we put them outside this year. I have a friend that I've been talking to about perennials, and she said if we start them off like this and get them going, that we should see blooms the first year. I've been planting hyssop in fields for years, and it's very difficult to find them. They get lost in the weeds, they get lost in the tall grass, and when I do find them, they're sparse, they have little tiny flowers on them. But I just want to share some information about them. This is why I chose them, just because I read about them in a book called 100 Plants to Feed the Bees, and it's provide a healthy habitat to help pollinators thrive. It's by the Xerces Society. But I just want you to know that the hyssop, and why I chose it, is because it's important for a lot of pollinators. If you're keeping bees, why not support all pollinators out there? These are going to have little blue flowers on them. They're going to attract your honeybees, which is what we want them to do. Starting them inside, we're going to get blooms, as I mentioned, and the bees are going to get heavy nectar from them. So why should you grow it? It grows for a long and blooms for a long period of time. Early summer all the way through fall. We had them last year for the first time outside successfully, and they were blooming right into November. So they were fantastic. Loaded with nectar. According to the Xerces Society, they said that 1 acre of these would support several colonies of bees. So the controllers on these, I'm just giving you another close-up of it. I liked these because they clamp, and they're adjustable. They have goosenecks on them, and they were really good. They're rated at 200 watts each LED output, and you control the intensity of it. So if you want them really close to the plants, that should work. And if you wanted to reduce the output, of course, you do that. But I like that they're on 12-hour cycles. They turn on and off on their own, and I connected them all to a power strip. So I think it's a pretty good setup, but I'm also going to give you a little teaser here that I have another video coming up with another grow light, because what this did was got me curious about other grow lights and LED systems that maybe are a little bit more intense. But this is my whole setup. I want to thank you for watching, and I invite you to look down in the video description where you'll find links to everything I've shown you here. And that's just about it. What's more fun than having fresh green plants growing, and successfully, as you can see here, right inside your house in the wintertime? So I'm Frederick Dunn, and this has been another episode of The Way to Bee. Thanks for watching, and I hope you take an interest in some nectar-producing plants that you can take care of where you live. Have a great day.